Hi, folks. This is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report. You know, a lot of times I will go online and I'll look for different lures that are available, new things, so I can tell you about it. And one thing that I do notice, because a lot of the companies will have a video that they use to enhance people getting interested in the lure that they're looking at. Well, I've noticed on a lot of these videos that people use floats. Now, again, going back to being a kid and fishing as it was years and years ago, a lot of people use bobbers, and they still do, but they'll use a bobber as an indicator that something has happened. You put a plastic red and white bobber on your line way up above wherever you're going to have your bait, and then you throw it out, and you can set the rod down, and you watch that bobber. And when the bobber starts to dip in the water, you know something's picked up the bait. And so they're nibbling on it, or they're moving it, or whatever. And if the bobber goes under the water, you know they've really got it and they're running with it. And then you set the hook. But I want you to think of something else, because a lot of these really good fishermen using some of these little bitty lures and baits and soft plastics and so forth that are available today, they put a float on their line above it. Now, they have to determine, first of all, how deep a water they're fishing, and second, how deep they want the lure that they've chosen to use. Now, we're talking about artificial lures now, little plastic twisters and grub imitators and so forth. So by using a little float, and they're designed now specifically for spin fishing, you put that float on, and it not only becomes a strike indicator, if you want it to be, but it also controls how your lure is going to look in the water. By having that, it's not allowing it to go down on the bottom and bumping along and snagging. It keeps it up above the bottom, but it also allows the current to constantly be working on whatever lure you're using. So rather than just sort of tumbling down through the water currents, every little bit of motion will cause the bait to wiggle and look completely different than it would if you didn't have a float. And this can become so critical to your success with that lure. You can take something that you try to fish it in the way you normally would, by either casting it out and reeling it in, or casting it out and let it go down to the bottom and work along there, to something that the water itself starts to influence what it looks like. And it's completely different. It tends to allow it to float naturally down through the current. Very similar to using drop shots that we talk about on the St. Lawrence River. But this is where you can use little things, whether you're fishing for trout or any other kind of fish, panfish, anything. It really enables you to fish much better than you would without the float. Now, I'm speaking now from watching others, from looking at videos. It's not something I've done near as much as maybe I should have, and I'm going to really try it more this year, especially for fishing the Grass River or the trout streams that I talk about. So hopefully this might be something to spark an interest in you. And again, we're always trying to become better fishermen. Until next time, folks, this is Don Meisner with the North Country Fishing Report.